Hello and welcome to Michigan Golf Live Television. I'm Bill Hobson. We're glad to have you along for a program that was actually produced by you, our viewers. We turned to you and asked for your votes on a very special topic that we'll be exploring in the moments ahead. Here's a little hint, a little tease if you will. The entire genesis for this idea came about because of our love for food. That ought to keep you around as we start Michigan Golf Live TV.
Welcome to Michigan Golf Live Television, shining the spotlight on the greatest places to stay, play, and enjoy the greatest game on earth. Stay connected to MGL 24/7 on Facebook, Twitter, and free podcast of MGL Radio, heard live across Michigan every Saturday morning. MGL TV starts now.
We're glad to have you with us on this special edition of Michigan Golf Live Television. It's special in large part because you helped us produce it. We turned to our audience, both on radio and television, and asked you to vote for your favorite 18th holes in the state. The concept ties into my personal love of dessert. You finish off a meal with the perfect dessert, it makes you want to return to that restaurant. And on the other side of that coin, if the dessert's not all that good, you might not go back. Same theory sort of applies to golf. You want that final taste in your mouth to be a good one. Maybe your score's not great, but the hole itself presented a wonderful feeling and a wonderful experience. That's the tour upon which we are about to embark. We're going to travel all over the place, from the Detroit area up to northern Michigan, over to the west side, the east side, and all points in between, because that's where you sent us. So with that, we now launch the tour of Michigan Golf Live's great 18th holes all across this marvelous state. We're in Harbor Springs at Little Traverse Bay Golf Course and Restaurant, where Matt Shellhoop has been the head professional here for a while, and you get to enjoy these views every day.
Yes, I do, Bill. It's pretty spectacular up here.
Most people who play at Little Traverse Bay come away talking about all of the scenic vistas, and here we are in peak color season. It couldn't be much prettier.
It sure doesn't get much better than color season in northern Michigan, and especially up here on top of the hill where you can see for about 35 miles or so, so it's pretty awesome.
Our viewers voted for your finishing hole here as one of the top in the state. What's special about number 18?
Well, as we like to say here, our first hole goes straight down the hill, and 18, what goes down must come back up. So from tee to green, it's about 125-foot elevation rise, so it's a pretty spectacular finishing hole.
You hit your tee shot and you wonder if there's ever going to be a place where this hole ends. It's a little further than it looks, and it's a little extra club than you would think, right?
Oh yeah, from the white tees, I always like to say it's the longest 334-yard hole you'll ever play. And hitting into the green, depending on where the flag is, it's 2 or 3 clubs more than the yardage would dictate.
I want to thank your crew for setting the hole today in a very difficult location, because we need an extra challenge.
Oh yeah, that's not hard enough to begin with.
And my favorite way to end around at Little Traverse Bay is to tap in for what we hope is a birdie, and by the way, on TV, it will be, and then head inside for the planked whitefish. It's a pretty good combination.
It's spectacular.
Our next featured destination offers 36 beautiful championship holes, and we're going to feature the 18th on the Scharf course at Oakland University. This man next to me has been here for 40 years, Bill Rogers. How are you, sir?
Doing wonderful, thank you, Bill.
This is such a gorgeous property, and I don't know that it gets enough acclaim around the state. Certainly in your region, everybody knows about Oakland U.
Well, let's not keep it a secret any longer. It's been a wonderful facility the folks in the region have enjoyed for all these years. The Scharf course is 15 years old, and the Catke is now 40.
This 18th on the Scharf is a beautiful par 5 with a lot of tee boxes, thankfully, for those of us who don't want to play it from the very, very tips.
Correct. We really are a proponent of the play it forward or tee it forward program, and we really enjoy watching our folks utilize that aspect of the game. It's relatively new that the PGA and the USGA have been promoting, and I'm sure you've heard about it on your show and others have talked about it. But it's truly the way to play the game and enjoy.
Rick Smith's hand carved this hole, this great finishing hole. So walk us through it. What's the key to a good score on 18 of the Scharf?
Well, when you look at the fairway, center of the fairway is going to be pretty much in line with the clubhouse, which we just built a couple of years ago. So what looks like the right edge of the fairway, there's a bunker, and you want to avoid that bunker at all costs. It just causes you to lay up. It's a very steep bunker edge. And then, so a left center tee shot is preferable. You want to knock it down to about the 100 to 150 mark, and you'll be short of a bunker that we have, a cross bunker that's about 100 yards from the green. And then the green is protected by bunkers right and left.
There's a key word I'm sensing here, bunker.
Bunkers. There's only 52 on the golf course, but
48 of them are on 18.
on this particular hole, you do have bunkering. Yes.
It is beautiful, and we are proud to show it off as one of the great 18 that you voted for. When you attach the name of Robert Trent Jones Jr. to a golf course, you know it's special. And our next featured great 18th hole brings us to the Orchards Golf Club in Washington Township. Jeff Stelkop, this is a special place.
Yes, it is. We've been having out here 23rd season now and been enjoying it. We've hosted the 2002 Amateur Public Links Championship, won by Ryan Moore, currently on tour. Also hosted the Michigan Open out here 3 years in 2011 through 13.
That means it's a quality course, and here we stand on the 18th tee, about to tackle a fantastic finishing hole. What's the secret to mastering this one?
Well, it gives you plenty of fairway. It's downhill, so you don't have to hit driver off the tee. Favor the left side as everything slopes towards a pond, green side pond, down in the landing area.
You always say things like wide fairway, and then when I hit a ball, we prove that it's not quite wide enough sometimes. But we've got a lot to negotiate. We got to go around the corner, around the trees, and then, as you said, keep the ball dry.
Yes, and then Trent Jones Jr. put a nice greenside bunker opposite the pond, and many people end up there in their approach shots.
So there are some matches that are decided here on 18 with
For
some
sure.
good drama.
Definitely, yes. On a downwind day, be careful. You can drive it into the pond, so you might lay up short and left, favor the left side, and give yourself a wedge or something in that range to attack the pin.
This course, even with all of its competitive history, is open to the public, so anybody watching can come tee it up at the Orchards.
Yes, Robert Trent Jones was designed for a daily fee, upscale daily fee golf course, and he gives you generous areas for fairways to drive the ball in and a premium on the approach shots.
We're off and running. Our first three courses really were fantastic closing holes at Oakland University, Little Traverse Bay, and the Orchards. When we come back, we go back up north to the Harbor Springs area and a very familiar destination. Welcome back to Michigan Golf Live's Great 18th Hole Special, the one you helped produce as you chose some of the best finishing holes throughout the state of Michigan. Let's continue our tour with a little road trip up to Harbor Springs, in a place you might have heard of a time or two. Our tour of the Great 18th Holes in Michigan continues at a place you know very well because it's the first name in golf in our state, Boyne. Dave Trudell, you've got 15 plus years in the Boyne world. What are there now, like a million courses in the family?
You certainly would think so. I think we've got 8 total golf complexes that were available to us on any given day.
For years, important championships have been contested on the Heather, and we're going to feature the 18th, the famous 18th finishing hole at this great course. First of all, what's the character of the course of the Heather?
Well, it's an old style golf course. It routes around many wetlands and hardwoods areas. Just your basic parkland style golf course. And then Robert Trent Jones Sr. put his touches on with all his bunkering and his green complexes. So you see that trait there, and it's just a great golf course from first hole to 18th hole.
What's the strategy for this finishing hole? It's decided many an important match.
Well, it gives you plenty of room off the tee, but you have a lot of decisions to make, which the first decision probably is trying to get as close to the water hazard as possible so you have a shorter second shot. And that is the challenge in itself. If you don't, you have a downhill second shot that could be upwards of 200 yards to carry water.
What's the strategy after we get that second shot onto terra firma?
Well, we've got a green that's got some subtle breaks, and you know, again, if you make par on the 18th hole, you're probably gaining 1 on the field.
You and I are playing it in beautiful colors and heavy winds. This will be fun.
It will be fun, and thankfully it is downwind, so our shots will carry a little bit further, but much more challenge with the standard wind. We get a southwest wind. Generally, it's into the face of those golfers, and that's what makes it very difficult.
This is a classic hole. I love it here.
It's wonderful. I enjoy it as well, and so do a lot of our fans. They come out here and hit plenty of golf ball in that water trying to get it over.
It should come as no surprise that at some point on our tour of the state's great 18th holes, we would come to one that Jerry Matthews helped craft. We're at Manistee National Golf and Resort. Doug Bell, you've been here forever, and you have seen this whole property mature. What's it like here on your 36 holes at Manistee?
It's wonderful, and we appreciate you stopping by and the vote of everybody. But the Cutter's Ridge and Cantuck Valley, 2 really good golf courses on the west side over here, close to Lake Michigan, and not far from a couple other really good golf courses on the coastline. And it has matured over my 17 years here. It's grown to be a very fun golf course to play.
I don't know if the Lake Michigan side of our state gets the credit it deserves from the top of the mitten to the bottom. There's a great stretch of golf down here, and yours is certainly one of those places.
Yeah, you know, from Mackinac to Chicago, you drive 31 and you're going to find some great golf all the way down the coastline. So
our viewers voted for the 18th hole at Cutter's Ridge as being one of the most impressive 18th holes in the state. This is not an easy hole by any stretch.
No.
What is the Doug Bell recipe for success?
You've got to get the golf ball off the tee into the fairway. It's a carry, it's another forced carry. Cutter's Ridge is known as a difficult golf course. We've got a few forced carries out here that you have to deal with, but whether you're playing a 3-wood or a driver based on your tee selection, your tee box selection, that's critical, because if you can get a nice flat lie as the banks of the golf hole are surrounded by some hills, that makes that shot to the green, which is critical, much easier.
There are some 18th holes where you're thinking to yourself, birdie, birdie, birdie. This is one, I think, where you walk off with a 4 and you're pretty pleased.
Extremely pleased. It's rare that we see hear of anybody making birdie here.
Except for today, you and I.
Oh, exactly. And after what makes it very, probably very memorable is that you've played a very difficult golf course if you choose to. It's, you know, Cutter's has different tee boxes, so you can soften it up as much as you'd like. But if you play the back tees, we're the 3rd highest sloped golf course in the state. So by the time you get to this tee box, there's a chance you're a few balls less in your golf bag. And so it could be the most difficult hole. If 17 isn't the most difficult hole in the course, then 18 is. So you're going to finish with the toughest hole, toughest green, and you're a little bit worn out. So it is memorable. You know, some people, sometimes I think that's a hindrance to us, that you leave with potentially a bad taste in your mouth, but more often I get comments back just the opposite.
That's how we like it. We want that final taste that you have of the course to be a good one so that you'll come back and play again.
That is correct.
Our next featured great 18th hole is a fun one because some of the world's best players have teed it up on the very ground where we are standing. Rick Burkhart here at TPC Michigan in Dearborn, the site of many senior players championships. This is a pretty cool place.
It is, Bill. It's an awesome facility. We really enjoy it here. This is a great hole. Par 4, number 18 here, plays about 420 yards. A lot of strategy here. You can make birdie, but par is also difficult too. So,
and with the multiple sets of tee boxes, you don't necessarily have to play it at 420, but even then, it's not just a pure raw length kind of hole. You got to be smart.
Definitely. Accuracy plays a big part of it here. With most Jack Nicklaus golf courses, you know, it's all about accuracy. And definitely here with the drive, you got to keep it down the left-hand side so that tree on the right doesn't block you out. And then the green, even though it's a little bigger, it does take some accuracy to get it in there to the right pin position.
Some of the wetlands here would be a little visually intimidating, but there is some room to land your ball.
Definitely. The wetlands makes it look a lot tighter than it is.
Well, wetlands will have a tendency to do that to you.
Most definitely.
Once we get to the green, what's that complex like? Because Jack's known for having some very challenging greens.
He is, but this one's actually a little more subtle than most of them out there on the golf course. So like I said, being it's a little bigger, it does have a couple definite undulations in there, so you can kind of tuck the pins in there.
We want to give all of our viewers an opportunity to tee it up at these places that we're featuring, and you're working on some stay and play packages that would help make that possible, right?
Most definitely. We are a member-owned country club, but if you do come down, we do have some of the area hotels that we do some stay and play packages with.
Well, this is a fun place to tee it up, especially if you compare your game to those of the legends that have played here.
Definitely. I mean, you're talking Art Palmer, Nicholas, Player, Trevino, some of the best in the game.
Soon to be added to that list, Hobson and Burkhart.
Definitely.
So the list just got worse. Don't go anywhere. We've got 3 more wonderful finishing holes that you helped select as we head down the home stretch of today's program. And here's a quick reminder that if you'd like to see a summary of all 9 of the featured holes in this program, go to our website at mgltv.com and click on Grade 18 for all information, links, and specials to each of our featured courses. Welcome back to the final few moments of this Michigan Golf Live Great 18th Hole Special, the one you helped produce. And so if you cast a vote in our survey, it's possible you're still asking yourself, where's the course I voted for? Well, maybe, just maybe, it's one of the following and final 3 holes. For our next stop on our statewide tour of the great 18th holes that you voted for, we come to Pearson, just a few minutes north of Grand Rapids, and beautiful Pilgrim's Run golf course. Jeff O'Malley is he's the master of all here. This is such a beautiful course. We'll talk about 18 specifically in a moment, but before that, give us a feel for what the personality is of this layout.
Well, Pilgrim's Run's built on over 400 acres of elevated land throughout, a lot of trees, a little bit of water, some sparkling ponds throughout it. And what I like about the playability of it, we still have a challenge if you go to the back tees, but with 6 sets of tees now that we added 2 more in there, you can actually play to the yards that fit your game, which is great because it allows you to play, have fun, and pace of play is also picked up.
All of the holes at Pilgrim's Run are named after a chapter or a theme from the very famous historic book Pilgrim's Progress. So number 18 follows that mindset. What's the name of it?
Pilgrim's Run number 18 is called Entice, meaning that entice you to kind of go for the green. It's a great risk-reward hole where you can hit your tee shot, feel strong at the green, or you can play it safe to the left. So it's a good risk-reward hole.
The bigger hitters can probably try to take it directly over the water.
Correct. We've had one player I've seen do that. It was Lee Jansen, who plays on the Champions Tour, did drive the green from the back tee.
Otherwise, what's our best aiming point for those of us who don't have a professional resume?
The best aiming point is at the 100 marker. Little left of the bunkers, little left of the water, big landing area, very, very playable.
Your team has kindly cut the hole today about what looks like to be 3 inches on the front of the green. There's probably a couple more paces. But once you get to the green, you're not done. You've got some work left.
You do. You have some challenging work to it to get to the green. It has slight elevation in the back right. Front of the green has a tendency to fall down, a little bit of false fronts in there. So make sure you get it to the hole.
Many a match has been decided here on Entice. This is a really fun choice to make while you're starting on the tee.
It is. If you're playing really good, you know, it's a little scary, so you don't hit the ball right, so you play it really safe. If you're struggling that day, you know, why not go for it and find out? But we hear a lot of laughter, a lot of cheers, a lot of hooting and hollering on this hole from the tee shots.
Our next stop on our tour of the great 18th holes in the state brings us to Jackson and Ray Hearn's masterpiece, the Grand Golf Club. Brian Roberts, this is a wonderful piece of property.
It is. It's really beautiful. One of the things that Ray and our owner Doug were able to do is just take the piece of property we had, work with the rolling hills and all the features we had and the wetlands, and it just made 18 unique and beautiful holes. You know, none of them run in together with each other, which is one of the really neat things about our facility. And just 18 really unique, beautiful holes here.
Most of the people I've talked to who have played the Grand will say, I can't believe what a value it was because of how beautiful it is. It's really one of those places that you come away from wanting to play again.
Well, that's the idea. We try and offer a great product. I mean, golf is so competitive in Michigan, and you know, we're in Jackson, right in the middle of the state, so everybody can get here. And you know, typically you're never going to pay more than $50 to $55 to play here in our peak rates, and then our off-season rates you can play for even less expensive. But we really don't want people to think of this as just a value golf course, because it is just a beautiful course. Our rates, we just try to be really competitive with them.
This finishing hole is a challenge. We go from tee to green on number 18, and by the time you putt out, you could either make your round or really damage your scorecard. Take us through the strategy of this hole.
Okay, one of the really unique things about this hole is it's like It is 75 yards wide, the fairway in the deepest part. And we actually have 2 aiming posts because there's a great big large bunker in the middle of the fairway. And that's kind of unique, so you can either play it to the right or to the left.
Or directly into it.
Yep. Sometimes that's your best bet, is aim at it and you'll probably slice it
Right.
and hook it, and you'll be safe.
After we get the tee shot landed in 75 yards of fairway, we hope,
Yeah.
what's left?
You're kind of left with a green that's very, very deep, so you really want to pay attention to our pin sheet. We have 6 different hole locations out here. So you really want to see how deep the pin is on that day, and it can change from anywhere from, you can have 150 and all the way to like 180 in.
And to make life even more entertaining as you and I play it, we've got a little breeze to contend with. So there are some variables that can make this even more challenging.
Sure, and it's one of those greens where it looks very receptive in the fairway, which it is, but then when you hit in, there's actually some trouble that can pinch in on the edges with a couple bunkers on the left and then some wetlands that cuts in on the right if you miss it to the right.
Well, I've long enjoyed Ray Hearn's work, and this is a good reason why I love this 18th hole.
Well, thanks for coming out here. It's one of my favorites in the state. So.
We have come to the end of our tour of the state's best 18th holes as voted on by you, our viewers. And more of you voted for our final stop than any other place. We're at Arcadia Bluffs. And Zach Chapin, this is a special place. This setting is hard to beat.
It's just a unique, wonderful place we have here with the backdrop of this and the challenge of the 18th hole. Just makes everything extremely special.
We're touring during a chillier time of fall as we present all of these holes, and yet you're still crowded, you're still busy because everybody wants to get a crack at this wonderful course.
Well, again, it's a wonderful spot, and we've had just a beautiful fall. The trees are turning all kinds of different colors at this point. The weather's been great for the fall, and we've got cart covers and heaters in all of our carts too to help with all of our guests who are going to make the trip out this way and see this special place.
The 18th hole, it can make or break your round because this course has an awesome ebb and flow to it, and as you get here, maybe your match is on the line, maybe your personal best is on the line, or maybe you're just trying to salvage something to make you feel better about your game. What kind of challenge does 18 present?
Oh, 18's it's a tough finishing hole. It's an uphill par 4. It's long and tough driving hole followed by a treacherous green here. So you have to have accuracy in your shot into the green as well as off the tee.
If you're down in the fairway and you can't really see where the flag is, what's the general aid to aim? Is there a spot on the clubhouse you can pick, or how do you know where to go?
A couple of different ways. One, you can pick a spot in the clubhouse and you line it up, but 2, the GPS screens and all the golf cars show you where the flag stick is on the green. So you know the yardage to the green, where it's going to go, and your aim point right there.
There are some areas on this green that make a 2-putt a really good effort. It's not easy to putt here on 18.
No, the green is also the added challenge to the hole as well. Getting a 2-putt and finishing here with a par is always a great thing, and ending your round with a birdie, that's like stealing one here and makes you come back and do it again.
Then you come have a seat in the Adirondack chairs and heckle the other groups that are coming in. That's the best way to end it.
It's a great 19th hole as well. The Adirondack's chair here with the view looking out right there and seeing all the other folks try to do what you did or didn't do. It's just a great way to end a wonderful day.
Now that was a fun tour. Thank you so much for your votes that helped determine where we were headed and really producing the program. We should list all of you in the credits, but they would take quite a while. It also keeps alive a Michigan Golf Live tradition of turning to our audience for great ideas. And I'd like to do it again right now. If you have something kicking around in your head that you think would make a compelling, entertaining, and fun program in the days ahead, will you send us that idea? Something we can